Having been back from Royal Caribbean's new Legend of the Seas, I tried to do as much as I possibly could, and I really like the ship quite a bit. But as usual, there are a couple things I don't love about it. Believe it or not, yes, I am capable of negative thoughts related to Royal Caribbean. Not everything is pixie dust and unicorn poop. It is sometimes not the greatest things. And some of these things I probably could have seen coming, and others did surprise me. So today on this episode of the podcast, I wanted to share, 5 things I didn't like on Royal Caribbean's Legend of the Seas. So buckle up, strap in. It's going to be all negative, kind of. Number one, all right, we'll start off with something that is probably no surprise to anybody who's been on an Icon class ship, although it is a surprise to me that still on Legend of the Seas, we still have wire baskets in these staterooms. It's amazing because every time I go, I come off the ship and it's been a while since I go back on another Icon class ship, I always think maybe I'm being unrealistic about how bad those wire baskets are. But my God, are they so loud. So if you haven't been on an Icon class ship, they have these cubbies and they have these wire baskets. Now I thought, first of all, I didn't like the fact that the wire baskets are exposed to the rest of the room. So basically anything you put in there, anybody can see what it is. It's on the end of the world because I don't get that many visitors in my room. But if somebody does come into your room, odds are, because of the size of the basket, you're putting like your underwear in there. Anyway, no one wants to see that. But I don't even care about that. What I'm talking about is when you slide the baskets in and out, they scrape against the wood cubby, and it's this awful screeching sound. It's high pitched, it's loud, and it really, it's not subtle. And, in a lot of cases, when we were on Legend, I would wake up in the morning to go do my work, and my wife would want to sleep in a little bit later. So, I'm trying to be considerate, not make noise, whatever. But those things are it's out of Ernest Saves Christmas movie thing where it's so obscenely loud. And that's been the case on Icon, Star, and Legend. And I'm guessing, they're not going to invest the money to put proper drawers in there. Fine. But there's got to be something else. I don't know what it is. Maybe they just bought 7 million wire baskets. Now, listen, we bought them. We're going to use them. But, some people have recommended, just take the baskets out, throw them in the corner, and then, just put your clothes in the cubby area, which I guess is okay, except for the fact that then you're constantly trying to, reach in to find where's that one pair of socks you're looking for. Anyway, the wire baskets are still a problem on Legend of the Seas as they are in Icon. Sorry, is it the end of the world? I feel like I'm talking to my kids. Is this a big deal or a small deal? No, it's not a big deal, but it's annoying, and I'm just surprised that they must have gotten a lot of feedback from this already since Icon, but for whatever reason, they're still there. All right, let's go into some more things that are more Legend specific. Number 2, the dog Skipper. Okay, I don't hate the dog. It's not that I don't dislike the dog at all. I love the dog. She's super cute. It is impossible to find Skipper, and this is my hot take of Legend of the Seas, and this is true also of the other Icon class ships. Royal Caribbean markets the heck out of these dogs. If you go on their social media channels, you're gonna see a video and a lot of videos of Skipper. This isn't WoW bands, right? WoW bands are a good example of something that Royal Caribbean offers. They're not heavily advertised. They exist, but it's not the focal point of their marketing campaign. And certainly, I think most people that come on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship like Legend have no idea that WoW bands exist. I think a lot of people know about the dog. In fact, the number one question I get when I go on Icon, Star, or Legend is, "Hey Matt, did you see the dog? Did you see Skipper or Sailor?" And the answer is no. It's impossible to see the dog. Royal Caribbean. So here's the thing: the dog has feelings, right? You can't put the dog in the middle of the Royal Promenade and have the dog sit there for 4 hours a day meeting and greeting guests. It'd be overwhelming for the dog, especially because it's a puppy and it's not, doesn't understand. Fine, I'm with you on this. Here's the problem. When you market it so much, when you put this dog front and center, you're setting a lot of expectations. And I know I'm not the only one who goes on these ships thinking, I can't wait to see that dog. I want to find the dog. And there's only one way to verifiably find the dog. You have to stalk the place on the jogging track where the dog goes to the bathroom. And I don't think that's right, because the dog is going there not to meet people, but to do its business. And if I'm going to do my business wherever I'm doing my business, I don't want to see anybody on my way there. I want to go do my business and be in peace. You know what I mean? And I think it's a problem. I think they're a victim of their own success with this. And I think it's a problem, and I think it's nearly impossible to find the dog, and this is why. So it's not that I obviously have any malice towards the dog. I'd love the dog. I'd love to see the dog, but you really can't, and I think that's a disappointment, and I think it's a disappointment for a lot of people. So it makes number 2 on my list. Number 3. Okay, now this is Legend of the Sea specific. I saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, amazing. I went to see the ice skating show Fusion, and I have to say, while the ice skaters are terribly talented, very good, really good at what they do, dear Royal Caribbean, can we please get a show with a different plot theme that is not related to the elements? Because this is the third one in a row that we've had the exact same. I mean, listen, ice skating shows plots are about as thin as sushi seaweed paper they use. Like, I mean, this thing, I mean, they're not very deep, okay? And I get that. I mean, I am kind of asking for like something better, but like I understand that you're not going to be getting, full vetted out plots with protagonists and antagonists and a twist at the end and a Sixth Sense type movie. It's not like that. I get it. It's ice skating at sea. Cool, great. But can we get something more creative than the same plot involving elements of some kind that are interacting with each other? Like, it's the exact same show. All they do is just update the music to it. And unfortunately, I think it takes away from it. I mean, again, maybe this is a Matt, you cruise too much problem. Entirely possible. I hear you on that one. I'm just pointing it out that, listen, we've got different shows in other theaters that have variations that are significantly different than the one that came before it. And I feel like other than the shows that Royal Caribbean has produced, that has licensed, Wizard of Oz, Back to the Future, Willy Wonka, the in-house shows have been more or less the same. Like, just there haven't been that creative, innovative. Really, we haven't seen a Royal Caribbean in-house show, correct me if I'm wrong, since the Effectors, and even then they recycled that thing about 4 times. That has really been like, wow, okay, there's some real, we're putting some effort into this, some thought. And I really feel like Royal Caribbean peaked with Columbus the Musical, when they really designed like their own little story, and I thought it was really cute, and I thought it was a good idea. And I feel like since then, the Effectors was a good, I think they tried hard on that, but it kind of fell flat. Like, they just did the origin story, and then whatever. Okay, fine, you gotta start somewhere. But the ice skating shows and the aqua shows, they're just like mishmashes of music. And I wish there was more to it, because I feel like Royal Caribbean used to try to reach higher, if that makes sense. Number 4, the gazpacho soup. So I tried out Aquadome Market, and I love Aquadome Market. And I went there, and I was like, I'm going to try everything on the menu. And I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised how good the food was. I thought it was be good, but like, these were all cuisines that were a little bit different, out of my wheelhouse. Korean rice bowls. I mean, not tacos. Tacos are definitely in my wheelhouse. Cajun gumbo, Spanish tapas. Cool. And I liked a lot of the food there. But the gazpacho soup, man, listen, I love soup. I love salsa. But cold tomato soup, I just couldn't do. It was like, when you eat something like that and it's like, it's that feeling in the back of your molars that's like, ooh, like you're like this is not what I expected it to be, and it's not a good, like, I am sure there are folks that love gazpacho soup, and it is dare I say, a delicacy, but there are certain foods in this lifetime I will never understand or never appreciate. Coleslaw. To this day, I'm sorry. I've tried every coleslaw on earth. They all taste the same. They look terrible and they taste terrible. Sorry, not sorry. And gazpacho soup, you can add to that list, because I just don't see it as a food that I can really get behind. And it seems strange, because I like a lot of foods that are on an ingredients level pretty much the same. But yeah, it is what it is. And the last thing, operationally, and maybe this is on my selling, when I go back on Legend of the Seas, I'll investigate. But we were there in July, and for some reason, every day in Park Cafe, the doors, not the doors to the restaurant, but if you've been to Park Cafe, the seating area, they have these doors that I can best describe as almost like garage doors. They were completely open, like open to the elements. We were in the Mediterranean in July. It was not chilly. It was hot. And they have outdoor seating and they have indoor seating. And I don't understand why the doors were open all the time, to the point so eating inside was like eating outside. And I'm sorry, as an air-conditioned aficionado, I want air conditioning. And every day it was open. Now listen, maybe because this was the, preview cruise, and maybe somebody thought, well, it's still early July. I don't know. They left it open for that reason, and perhaps when I go back in August, they'll be closed, and then I can remove this from my list. But I really was scratching my head as to why they thought that was. Listen, in November, when it's comfortable outside and the humidity and the heat are not record breaking, sure, open those doors. I don't mind a nice breeze. But no, when it's hot out, I need a break. I want air conditioning. And if I want to sit outside and enjoy the breeze and the heat or lack thereof, I'll sit outside in the outdoor seating. So, yeah, I didn't understand that. Overall, the ship's great. I love the ship, and I hope you'll check out our ship tour video that we have out that you can see for that on YouTube. But I will say, these little obviously they are minor things. These are all just like, Matt, you're being ridiculous, and I probably am. I think the dog one is probably the most operationally questionable one. But the rest of it, are small things that obviously I pick up on because I cruise a lot. But it's worth noting that I don't love everything I see that Royal Caribbean does. So I just wanted to throw that out there on this week's episode. Well, friends, it's time to answer listener emails. This is the part of the episode where I read the emails you've sent me. Maybe there are things you don't like. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to read them right here on the podcast. First email is from Josh. Hey, Matt, I've got a quick question about cruise directors. Family and I are currently on an adventure of the seas. As you know, it's an older Voyager class ship. A couple of years ago, we cruised on Mariner and loved it. Mariner's cruise director could be found everywhere, and there was non-stop events and entertainment to be found. However, in this cruise, there seems to be a lack of activities, and I find the entire ship of passengers themselves grouped up at the same location for the same activities. Last year, we cruised on Harmony, and even with twice as many people, the ship didn't feel as crowded because everyone was scattered out. Have you found that cruise directors can make or break a cruise? Love your content, by the way. We have found ourselves leaps and bounds ahead of other cruisers because of the education your content has provided. Thanks to the compliments in the email, Josh. The cruise director, yes, they have, listen, some are very visible and some are like, what cruise director? And I do believe to some extent they have an impact on, I don't want to say the enjoyability of the cruise, but certainly the activities. Their whole job is to manage, operate, and execute the activities on the ship, whether it's trivia, whether it's a dance party, and anything else in between. To some extent, yes, I do believe that the cruise director can have an impact on the ship's experience. Some are very vocal, some are very visible, and others have very much not want to say invisible, but they take a step back. They don't make themselves the focal point. The old school cruise director style was the in-your-face, your best friend, everybody knows their name cruise director, right? The best example that still exists today is like Mark Walker, Bing Bong. If you've been on a ship that he's been on, you probably know him pretty quickly because he makes himself very visible. That's his style. The newer cruise directors are there's a lot less personality. I'm not saying they're all like this, but I find the older cruise directors that have been around for more than about 10, 15 years have much more personality, and they're much more out there than the other cruise directors that are kind of just like maybe you don't even know their name to that point. Can they make or break a cruise? I'm not sure about that. I would argue really you make or break your own cruise. Cruise directors can have an impact on it, and some of them can really make it more enjoyable or add a flavor to it. I don't know that I'd go as far as say they make or break the cruise. I do believe they have an impact, again, especially if you're somebody who goes to a lot of activities. Like some people do go to 4 or 5 trivias a day. They go to the shows, they go to the events and the activity. They're just going down the Royal Caribbean app and basically doing a lot of activities throughout the day. Those people might have a much bigger impact by the cruise director because they're more likely to run into them, or at least their staff anyway. And honestly, the cruise director staff also plays a major role because the staff are the kind of, they take their cues from the cruise director. It's literally, they work for them. So, they can have certainly, I don't say they're so much trained by them, but a lot of the way they conduct themselves comes from the cruise director. So yes, but to make or break, I wouldn't say that far. Maybe I'm splitting hairs about it, but I digress. Next email is from Benjamin L. Matt, thanks for the content. I recently went on Royal Caribbean Cruise on Utopia. Loved it. I was looking to do a 7-day on Icon in summer 2027 with the kids. However, I really don't know what ship and itinerary to pick. I think I prefer going to Coco Key last. St. Martin would be cool. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Once again, thanks for the podcast, videos, articles, and other great resources. I actually think Coco Key last is a mistake. The problem with going to Coco Key last is it's the last day of the cruise. And so not only are you kind of depressed because you're like, hey, I'm here. Oh, the cruise is over. Hey, I'm here. Oh, the cruise is over. But even worse so, you got to pack. You got to get back on the ship and like pack. And I feel like that's kind of it's like a cloud over your head. And I much prefer to have a sea day on the end of the cruise than a port day, or in this case, Coco Key. So I would say if I had the choice, I'd pick Coco Key first or just not last. Otherwise, when you're picking an Icon class ship, Ben, I don't think it really matters, the itinerary. I mean, the ship is the destination. The places you're going to go, you're either getting Eastern or Western. You can make arguments about the benefits of Eastern or Western Caribbean. I think they're mostly interchangeable. I think the food is better in Western. I think the beaches are slightly better in Eastern, but the beaches are still great in Mexico. I don't really have a preference. I mean, you can flip a coin. They're good for different reasons. Ben also says, I'm also bringing my sister and her 2 kids. My kids, probably 3 of them, and my parents. My family's the only one who's cruised on Royal Caribbean so far. I thought originally we could have done Coco Key first, but after looking at the itineraries, I don't think so. One more thing, I also might be drifting towards a newer ship that doesn't work for this itinerary that I want. Port Canaveral's kind of a pain to get to anyway if we went on Star. Thanks so much for your help. Sorry if it's 2 messages. No worries, buddy. Make the itinerary that works for you. I mean, I would argue... See, this is like, it's hard for me to say this because, I cruise a lot. So for me, yes, the difference between Eastern and Western Caribbean, like, it doesn't matter because I've been there so many times and I don't think it's that fundamentally different. If you're new to it or you're newer to it, then yes, 100%. I'm with you on that, yeah, if you've done Western and haven't done Eastern yet, there'd be a major pull to try Eastern or vice versa. I'm thinking, though, the ship is more important than the itinerary when you're talking about the Icon class, and that's why I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Our next question is from Adam. Hey, Matt, just 328 days till I step on board Adventure of the Seas for the ABC Islands. For Bonaire, I've heard Klein Bonaire is the best place to go snorkeling. Then in Curacao, I'm considering booking the Royal Caribbean Discover Curacao excursion for my wife and I, which includes the Distillery, Cave Tour, and Museum. I'm still not sure what to do in Aruba. My wife and I are open to doing about anything. What do you think are the best things to do in ABC Islands? I think first of all, for Bonaire, you got it. I mean, it's snorkeling, diving, and then there's everything else. So you have definitely hit the high note there. For Aruba, it's a beach day. Palm Beach or Eagle Beach, don't overthink it. When I've been to Aruba the last 2 or 3 times, I've just gotten a day pass to 3resortforaday.com at the Riu Palace in Aruba. The reason for that is that it offers beach access, pool, and food, and I can choose between all of that. So for me, that's well worth it. Curacao, I mean, that tour is fine if that's of interest to you. Personally, we just kind of wing it in Curacao and walk downtown because you can do that from the cruise ship. And then if you really want to go to the beach, Mambo Beach is a good idea. But hey, if you want to go do something a little more active, I think your tour is certainly very, very good. Our next email is from Chris V. I'm booking a cruise using casino offers for my wife, myself, and 2 adult family members. My wife and I both received the same offer, so we're each bringing 1 family member as a guest across 2 cabins. While we've done this before with our kids, this is our first time doing it with adults. Upon boarding, will we be able to officially change our room assignments at guest services? Yeah, absolutely. Basically, you just tell them, listen, we're booked like this, but we want to switch person A to this room, person B to that room. No problem at all. They'll recode your keys, or give you new keys rather, and change your assignments that way. Yeah, you've got the right. It doesn't matter if it's. I know you're like, well, it's fine with kids, but what about adults? They don't care. I mean, just as long as you're all agreeing to it and it's not a problem later on, then you're good to go on there. So yeah, I mean, the worst case is you could obviously get duplicate keys so you could access the right room. But I think you could just tell them we booked it this way, but we really needed it to be that way. And I'm sure, if you, I don't think you'll have any problem at all. Next email is from Phil. I'll be on Navigator this season in August out of Los Angeles. I want to know if you'd recommend a pre-cruise hotel to stay prior to boarding. So in LA, you cruise out of San Pedro. San Pedro is not the best place in LA, the greater LA area. It's not bad, but it's not. I've stayed there. There's nothing there. It's kind of meh. The hotels that are available there are fairly meh. I would definitely recommend instead staying in Long Beach. Most recently when I was there, I stayed at the Long Beach Marriott. Long Beach is 1 town away. It's like literally over the bridge from San Pedro. You avoid any issues with LA traffic because you're going on local roads between Long Beach and San Pedro. And Long Beach is a lot more going on. It's a city. So there are there's a great aquarium there. There's lots of restaurants. You can walk very easily. You don't even need a car. I think it's a much better option than that. I mean, obviously you could do other things in the LA area. You could stay near the airport if you wanted to. The only problem with staying at the airport is that the day of the cruise, you still need to go fight the LA traffic to get from the airport to your cruise ship. So, I mean, not the end of the world. Most people are coming into LA for work in the morning and you're going out. I wouldn't think it'd be a big deal, but you could do that. Something else you could also do, obviously, is stay near Disney. A lot of people try to combine a Disneyland trip with their cruise. If you were to do that, then you'd obviously stay in Anaheim and somewhere near there. But I'm guessing that's not what you're going to be doing here, Phil. So since you're asking me based on the way you worded it, I would probably stay in Long Beach. The Long Beach Marriott's a very nice hotel, not terribly expensive either, and that's where I would stay. And our last email today is from Charlie Patine. Hope I said that right, Charlie. I recently watched your YouTube info on December cruising. We just finished a 7-night cruise on Oasis out of Bayonne. That port is so convenient for us from Pennsylvania, but the sailings seem to be the same itinerary over and over. What caught our eye recently was an 11 or 12-nighter in January. The itinerary looks good, and it seems that January weather in that region is great. My main concern is the Atlantic in January. The rate is terrific. Ship, Odyssey of the Sea, seems to be the right ship. What are your thoughts? As always, thanks for your comments. Yeah, you've got the right thoughts going on here. When you cruise out of the Mid-Atlantic region, Northeast, in January, it's winter. In fact, this past winter, I don't know if it was in January or December, it actually snowed considerably. And it was fun. You know, kind of a different look at it. Here's the reality. And I've done a number of cruises out of Bayonne, New Jersey, and it's still the same. Oh, you'd be going out of Bayonne or an Odyssey. I was thinking of Vision out of Baltimore. Anyway, the point is that the first day and the last day are the worst weather because you're going to be the furthest north. So when I say the worst weather, what I mean is cold, possibly cloudy and rainy, snowy, whatever. As soon as you get about a day out, so day one you board the ship, let's assume it's, 40s or colder, whatever. As soon as you get about a day out, you'll wake up in the morning somewhere in the Carolinas, if not further south, and as the day progresses, it gets warmer and warmer. So short of a major cold front that, we do have a couple of those that like reach Florida, and our high temperature is only like in the, 40s or 50s, which for Florida is cold. For the rest of you, I know that's warm. But short of those kind of weather phenomenons, the reality is it gets much warmer pretty quickly. And so when you get to the afternoon of day two, you're comfortable outside to be by the pool and whatnot. And certainly after that, day three and onwards, I mean, it's tropics and all that. And then on the way back, same phenomenon. The second to last day, it starts off okay, it starts to cool down, and the last day of the cruise is kind of chilly. Here's the thing though, you're not paying for a flight. I'm assuming driving from Pennsylvania because it's comfortable. So that's the reason to go ahead and book this type of a cruise. I mean, to me, the ends justify the means. You know what I mean? I feel like it's worthwhile to avoid flying and all that. You could instead, Charlie, fly to Florida, pay for a flight, pay for a hotel, and get on a cruise ship that comes from Miami and avoid all those issues. But you have now the logistics and the cost of doing so. So you're just trading one problem for another problem. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It is possible that in January, because that is the coldest month of winter, and you can see the most storms. Certainly, it's the snowiest month in a lot of cases in the Northeast. There's always that potential. Personally, I try not to I don't plan my cruises around the weather, or what the weather could possibly be or not. As we know with the weather these days, it's, one year it's the worst winter ever, and other years it's like what winter, right? And so you just got to hope for the best, plan for the worst. And in this situation, I think it's fine. Just understand the realities of cruising from the Northeast in the wintertime. But I still would do it, especially for that 11 or 12-night cruise, because it's such a longer sailing, not just a 7-nighter. I feel like you're going to get more value out of it because you're spending more time in the tropics. Thank you to everybody for checking out this episode of the Royal Caribbean Blog Podcast. Of course, you can email me your questions to Matt, M-A-T-T, at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, Matt at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Until next time, I'm Matt. We'll talk again real soon.